At Parker, our purpose is simple. We want to make the world a better place by working more efficiently, by using more sustainable practices, by developing better technologies. We keep moving forward. With each new idea, innovation, and partnership, we're one step closer to fulfilling our purpose every single day. To find out more, visit parker.com/purpose. Parker, engineering your success.
No music, no intro. Another episode, hashtag Saints Twitter podcast. So Ryan and I figured that it would be really dumb for us to have a hashtag Saints Twitter podcast and then actually start having people that make Saints Twitter what it is. We got at Will Del Toro on the pod. How you doing, Will? What's going on, man?
Man, La Jolla Shorty. I got La Jolla Shorty here with me. I got Big B Sean here with me. You know what I'm saying? We're about to do this thing, man. Thank y'all for having me, bro.
So Will's a Saints fan. My man was on Cloud 9 when the LSU won the championship this year, which feels like 10 years.
About a smooth 5 years ago, for real.
And so we just chopping up. So a question that anyone that we get on the podcast as a Saints fan, that's a part of hashtag Saints Twitter podcast, that I feel I need to ask is what is your story? Like, what is your origin story of being? Obviously, you're an LSU fan. Obviously, you're a Saints fan. You in the area. What's your story?
Man, born and raised here in New Orleans. My dad was, first generation Saints fan. I kind of feel like it breaks up into a handful of generations at this point, man. Not, true generations, but just like in terms of the existence of the franchise, right? So you have your OG fans, which were the ones that was at inception at Tulane Stadium and shit, you know what I'm saying? Typically boomers and whatnot. Then you got your early 70s to mid 70s folks that, were there for the transition between, Tulane Stadium and the Superdome and shit. And then you have your late 70s to early 80s, and beyond. And that's kind of where I fall in, man. Like, my dad had season tickets and shit that he used to share with a bunch of cats he used to work with or whatever, man. He used to work at one of, like, the refineries and shit. So they'd all, like, put their money together and get stupid drunk. His coworkers and shit, man. Them cats was fun, man. Brothers out of shot, man. Salute to them. But we used to go, man, when the Saints were fucking terrible. You know what I'm saying? This is pre-Jim Mora. This is Faith, Hope, and Bum and shit, man. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm like fucking 2 and 3 or whatnot, going to the Superdome, not really knowing what was happening. The first real memory that I had was the Saints playing the Buccaneers, the fucking Creamsicle Bucks, when I think Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback. They played them, in the dome like a million fucking years ago, dude. That was like my first actual memory of, of the Saints and kind of being aware of football and all that kind of stuff, man. But, man, like everybody else, bro, labor love, you know what I'm saying? We've been here through, all of the horrific times and now to the point where we don't flinch at 12-4. What's that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We live in good.
We was here through the fucking Jim Haslett years. You know what I'm saying? fucking Mike Ditka.
And the Jim Haslett years was the good years.
You know what I'm saying? How ridiculous is that? When you go and you look at that shit in hindsight, dude, how ridiculous is that shit? You know what I'm saying? Scratching and clawing the 10-6 was the good times. You know what I'm saying? That was fucking good times, bro. You know what I'm saying? Comparison to the years that we had with Jim Moore, where we, go fucking 11-5, second in division. Nothing. Go home.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And don't even mention Mike Dick.
Man, yeah. That was my first real test, right?
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? You know there was shit when, you know what I'm saying, when you were a little kid. It was just, hey, man, look, everybody just get together, go support the team or whatever, right? But, once you had the little taste of success with Jim Moore, and then we kind of slid back a little bit, and then fucking Mike Ditka shows up and had all the, because we stupid, man. We ain't know no better, listening to fucking Buddy D and all this other shit. Oh, man, Mike Ditka, blah, 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 man. We was gassed. This whole city was just gassed, waiting for, waiting for that gassed out, bro, waiting for that shit to pop off. And yeah, it was ridiculous, bro. You know what I'm saying? And the trade happens in hindsight, which, you know, when you go back and you look at that thing, man, there's two ways you can look at it, right? So, you know what I'm saying? On paper, you can look at it and say, not a terrible trade. You know what I'm saying? The Saints basically traded Ricky Williams for, well, no, I'll take that shit back. Because when you really look at it, it was what, Champ Bailey and
Yeah.
LeVar Arrington? Was that it?
Yep.
Woo! Yeah. Never mind. Because the front office is so fucking stupid. Was that the Bill Kaharick years? Was Bill Kaharick the GM at the time? Because
Yeah.
that was
Then,
pre-Randy Mueller, right?
that was pre-Randy Mueller, right?
Yeah. So that was fucking Bill Kaharick, man, which I don't know how the fuck, never mind. You know, I'm not speaking about Bill Kaharick, but yeah, you wonder how, you know what I'm saying, how that cat's still hanging. Is he still in Kansas City?
I have
Or
no
is he
idea,
gone?
bro. I have
Yeah,
no
because
idea.
like the
I'm
last
right
thing
on
I saw
my.
was like a couple of years ago, he was in like the Chiefs front office somewhere. I'm just like, fucking
Yeah.
how?
Yeah, I remember that, but I hadn't kept up with him. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the front office at the time, man, were just making, you know, not horrible picks, but just not good picks. You know what I'm saying? Fucking Chris Naoli and you know, Alex
Oh.
Molden instead of Eddie Jordan when you need a running
Oh
back.
man. Oh, don't
You
bring
know
up
what I'm
that
saying?
Molden, man.
And fucking, you know, the wild shit is Mike Ditka was fucking right on Randy Moss. People don't remember that shit. Mike Ditka was one of the few head coaches that was on record saying that Randy Moss was the fucking truth. And he even told Randy that he was going to take him. And then they get to us and we take fucking Kyle Turley. Now,
Man,
you know,
I didn't know
just,
that. I didn't know that
yeah,
shit.
yeah, he did. He was up here talking that shit about Randy Moss, and he told Randy that if he was there when we got to him, he was going to take him. That didn't happen.
But you know
You
what,
know,
man?
not
Randy Moss in New Orleans. Ooh, I don't know.
man, because you got to think
Maybe
about it,
it'll
right?
last
So,
2 years.
you know, the thing I wonder about, bro, because I don't think Randy was going to get no shit down here, but who was going to get him the
No.
ball? Right.
Right. Yeah.
Who was going to get him the ball? Fucking, you know what I'm saying? At that point, you know what? In '98, I gotta jump back for a minute. Who the fuck was the quarterback in '98? That wasn't the Billy Joe? I think the Billy Joe thing was just about over, right?
Yeah, Billy Joe was almost over, and then it was a
It was
I
fucking
can't
for a
remember.
couple years. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh man.
yeah. And then Jake was that Jake Long? No.
No, not
But
Jake
anyway,
Long.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Randy wanted where he needed to be, where they couldn't just give him all the coverage and they could just shoot that bitch down the field to him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And that worked out. But just back to all of that, man, was just that we had okay drafts, not great drafts. You know what I'm saying? They weren't ever horrible. They were just consistently okay,
yeah.
which is even worse. Because at least if you have it, you know what I'm saying? Because at least if you having shit drafts, you know what I'm saying? Generally, you're going to have a poor product on the field, which, will reflect in a really poor record, which will give you a better shot at it
Yes.
being a fuck up proof pick the following year. But we were just mired in that little, in that quicksand of fucking, 6-10, 7-9 for, forever. And then, Jim Haslett shows up. That was an experience in itself, man. That was fun.
So let me ask you this. And
What up?
It's a two-parter.
Yeah.
What would you say to the younger fans, younger generation of Saints fans, where the last three playoff seasons have been completely heartbreak. I don't consider really last season, last year heartbreak. That was just being outplayed. But, the last 2 years of heartbreak in the playoffs with the Minnesota Miracle, the no call. But as a whole, since maybe 2006, it's been successful. Like, away compared to what the history of the team has been. So what would your advice be to like new fans of the new generation of Saints fans?
You know what I would say, man? Honestly, not to be like, the old man that comes in and, yells at the cloud and shit, but I don't think that the people that showed up post Katrina and, Sean Payton, Drew Brees era really know how lucky they are to roll into this era. This is, for all intents and purposes, man, I'm trying to think of a good comparison in terms of on-field success and ultimate success. This run reminds me of it's probably I'm somewhere between a more successful Andy Reid, McNabb, and Brett Favre and McCarthy.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Where all you got is, you know what I'm saying, you got consistent 10-win seasons, always in the championship, always in the picture, but it just, you know what I'm saying, it never truly manifests. But in hindsight, those are the best years. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Where you really don't have to even blink about it, man. Like if somebody told you we'd win 10 games this season, all of us would turn our heads like, how the fuck is only 10?
Yeah,
And when you
exactly.
come from,
That's
you
that's
know what I'm
crazy.
saying? Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Danny Werfel at quarterback, you know what I'm saying? Andre Hastings at receiver. Who the fuck knows, at running back. You know what I'm saying? It's a really, it's a great time to be a part of this franchise, man. It's like when the 49ers went from being, a fucking also ran team to Joe Montana shows up, Bill Walsh got got the playbook burning, and you know what I'm saying, now you go into the point where they become the golden standard,
Yeah.
right? That's what that's what this era of Saints football is. Has it manifested in the way that it probably should? No, but if we're being honest, man, most great teams, you know what I'm saying, some of the best teams we've ever seen in football never win it all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That fucking Vikings team we just talked about didn't win
Oh
shit.
man.
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
they have to wear that. Like that's a cloud over
Yeah,
their franchise. I
right.
mean, going back to
They
the
never got
'70s,
one. Right.
never got one. You know,
No,
and
man.
they've
You know
had
what I'm
some
saying?
great teams.
Fucking right. You know what I'm saying? I think about that team, man. I think about that, that defense with John Randall, you know what I'm saying, and Randy Moss, and that offense just being ridiculous, man. People don't remember how good Robert Smith was as a back, running that bitch and catching the ball out of the backfield and stuff like that, man. People don't remember that about Robert Smith. You
Robert
know what I'm saying?
Smith,
That
man,
was kind of Robert
that's a
Smith, dog. Yeah.
throwback, there, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? That whole offense, Jake Reed, Chris Carter,
Hmm.
Glover, I think, was the tight end. I think that was after Steve Jordan rolled out. Steve Jordan rolled out right before all of that popped up because he was there, like, you know what I'm saying? We lost to them in the fucking 80s and shit in the
Yeah.
playoffs, which
Yeah.
is crazy, man. Like, I was thinking about that shit earlier, bro. Y'all realize we have lost to, I don't know how many years the Saints have gone to the playoffs. It's less than 10 total, but we've lost to the fucking Vikings 4 years.
Vikings so many
Yeah.
times.
On
My
It's
their
first, my
heartbreaking.
ass.
first, Dog, my first real heartbreak was when we lost to the fucking Vikings in '87 because that's when we were super
87.
duper hyped just on making the
Yep.
playoffs. You know
Exactly.
what
That
I'm
was the first
saying?
time the Saints made the playoffs. The first
That was the first time we
first
made the
playoff
playoffs,
appearance.
bro.
Yeah.
We were so hype on that shit, and then they crushed us. I think Eric Kramer was the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. It was Eric Kramer, Eric or Danny Kramer, but either way, man, they came to the dome and they fucking wrecked us, man. I was just like, what the
And
fuck is this? Yeah,
and
they wrecked us.
and
Yeah,
then you juxtapose arguably the greatest Saints win outside of the Super Bowl is the NFC Championship
right.
game against the Vikings. The greatest win
In
To
that
this
franchise history, yeah,
in franchise
yeah.
history.
to
But the
this day,
wild
that's
shit is, man, yeah, you
I
know
was
what I'm
gonna say,
saying, and
to this
that's
day, that NFC Championship game is the most stressful Saints game I've ever experienced in
Oh
my whole
man.
entire life.
which
Oh,
one?
The NFC Championship game against the Vikings, the nerves for that game, nothing will top that.
that was peak. I mean,
That's peak.
you can't get past that peak. Like you
No.
just can't. You can't do that
Mm-mm.
in sports. That's the peak. And then the way it plays out, like we don't get Drew Brees taking a knee, the end of
Nope.
time.
Absolutely
We
not.
Mm-hmm.
we get the most bone
Mm-mm.
crushing. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And the wild shit was, man, I'm sitting there watching that game with my dad, bro, and I'm looking at the Vikings getting up and they got all the rhythm going. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just like, man, if we get this 2 minutes going, then I think we're gonna be all right because the defense is starting to settle in. You know what I'm saying? Drew kind of got something working. Okay, cool. He found something on that defense. We got him. We got the adjustment because that's the guy that always gives, Sean Payton trouble. Is it was two guys. It was always Greg Williams, which is how Greg Williams wound up here, and Mike Zimmer. I always give Sean Payton, fits. Those are the two guys that, either know how to irritate him and disrupt
And you
him the
know it.
best. You know
Always
what I'm
have.
saying? I don't mention the Pete Carroll, but that's because Pete Carroll had a fucking crazy ass defense there, in that time.
Yeah.
But and Lovie Smith with that cover too.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. Is like, man, I'm sitting there watching that game. We were down, like, what was it, like 14, 17, something like that. wasn't panicking. I was like, man, we're going to be all right. And sure enough, Drew get going right before the end of the half. We get the ball, you know what I'm saying? We're doing our thing with it, whatever. So I'm just completely expecting, that just to, play out the way it has. And, one day we'll get the true story about what the fuck happened on that play. I don't know if homie just had a brain fart and he was just a young guy and he was just really trying to listen to what the coach told him. But yeah, man, it's that I wasn't even tripping on that one. I was just like, okay, man, that's just football. Some stupid shit happened. Because I remember when I was in high school, man, I went to St. Aug, and when I was in high school, bro, we played Bonneville in the playoffs. I think this was like my sophomore year, man. I'm talking about like 95, 96 or whatever, right? So I'm old. But we played them, bro. They had us, basically dead to rights. They had us beat. And the quarterback for Bonneville takes the snap. It was like maybe 5-6 seconds left in the game. He takes the snap. He runs back, and he just throws the ball in the air like it's a basketball game. So he runs off celebrating like this shit is, the game is over, everything is great, man. When our cornerbacks pick that shit up, walking in the end zone, we got it. You know what I'm saying? We win that shit. You know what I'm saying? That was an actual game that actually happened, bro. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just got to chalk that shit up to football, bro. You know what I'm saying? People make, have brain farts, have mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Shit happens, and you just kind of got to take it and move with it, bro. But, I wasn't upset about that game. The Rams game was the one that really fucked me up. I was just like, come on, man.
Oof.
That one was tough to get over. And even with that, I had kind of, I don't know, man. I think it's the stage I'm kind of going through in life right now where, you know what I'm saying, I've been completely invested in sports, invested in this team, and, and now I'm just at a point, man, it's just, I care, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. I love the team, you know what I'm saying? I love supporting the team. I love seeing everybody at the tailgates and hanging out and stuff like that. But I just can't let it affect I can't let that shit affect my life, dude.
No, man.
You know what I'm saying? I just can't. When you're to the point where you're having a hard time getting out of bed on Monday and shit. Monday sucks enough as it is.
Come on
You know what I'm saying? It's fucking Monday and you sit up here staring at the clock and really trying to make a real life decision. Like, dog, how many sick hours do I have?
we laugh because we've all been like I feel like all three of us, we've taken for me and Ryan, it was the NFC Championship game against the Rams. Like after that, I was like, you know what, I can't. I refuse to let myself feel this way over a sports team ever again. And it was life changing because it just it's like you said, we still love the team, we still root for them, we still watch, but that emotional connection and that emotional investment, like when you sever that, it completely changes your whole outlook.
Dog, and I'm telling you, man, every time it happens, it's a little bit. I gotta put a little bit less back in. You know what I'm saying? So the first really tough one for me was that Vikings game I told y'all about, the one back in '87. I was like, God damn, man, I thought we was gonna do it. Okay, cool. Then that shit with Bobby Abe and the fucking Eagles. I don't know if y'all remember that shit, man. That one was tough. That was hard. Because I'm just like, bro, we so much better than them. What the fuck is happening? Why are we losing? You know what I'm saying? I turned to my dad at one point, like, why are we losing? Which my dad, you know what I'm saying, went off in this whole little thing, fucking, cursing Bobby Abe up and down the street. But, it is what it is. But, you know what I'm saying? The thing with, with these things, and every time you come back with a crushing loss, man, it's just, it tests your resolve, man, and every time it just tells you got to put a little bit, even if it's just like 1%, you got to put 1% less into the shit because you can't let that sink your whole, you can't let that shit sink your battleship, man. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much I love the team and I want to support and shit like that, dog, I just can't let that shit, affect, my week. I still got to eat. You know what I'm saying? I still got to work and shit. I know everybody at the job pissed off too because they watch that bullshit. Except one of my homies, he a fucking Patriots fan, you know what I'm saying? But, fuck that dude. Love him. I tell him, you know what I'm saying? I love you, bro. Fuck you.
Especially when after a tough loss, you sitting there depressed, and then you get on IG and one of the Saints players like on the island or some shit.
Say, man, listen, let me tell you something, bro. I learned a valuable lesson. I'm glad we're right here, man. We had 2020. We had 15 years of the 2005 Saints, man, and God bless Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks taught me a valuable lesson. That is when I drew the line between, being completely vested, completely dialed in as a fan, and you know what? this is just some shit to do when I got some free time. So we were playing the Bucks in Tiger Stadium. This was I don't remember if it was a year. Ryan already know what the fuck I'm talking about. It was either October or November in 2005. Aaron Brooks had thrown, I think, 3 interceptions in that game. 2 of them to Rondé Barber, and then he had just thrown his 4th one in the game. I think his 3rd to Rondé Barber, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. And I just remember being fucking furious, man. And then the Fox cameras cut to Aaron Brooks squirting water on Lamont Hall's ass on the sideline, like laughing at shit. And I just remember being so fucking angry, dude. I thought I was having an aneurysm, bro. I'm just staring at the fucking TV like really not knowing what to do. That's what I got, man. I didn't live far from Tiger Stadium, bro. I thought about it for a minute. I was like, I gotta fight this dude.
This motherfucker. Like, he don't even care.
I gotta fight, right? Because I'm sitting up here, bro. That was, we were all dialed in, and everybody was just, man, the Saints repping us, and you know what I'm saying, everybody going hard and going through this bullshit in San Antonio to rep us and all that jazz. And this nigga over here squirting Lamont Hall on the ass with a bottle of water, and I'm just like, that was just it for me, bro. I was just like, you know what? It's a job, man. And I respect that about those guys. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't, you know what I'm saying? And that's why, I'll never be the guy to be up here talking about, oh, so-and-so is selfish for asking for money, et cetera, et cetera. Guess what? It's a fucking job. We love watching this shit, but it's a fucking job. It's a job for these guys. They are, some of, like, you have, okay, I'm not going to say that it's like that for everybody, but for a lot of these cats, you know what I'm saying, that's in the league, it's a way for them to provide for their families, and I respect that. But you have a tiny percentage of the guys who are obsessed with competition, and those are the guys who separate themselves one way or another, either with talent or with work ethic. That's the wild thing about, you know what I'm saying, I love about Drew, you know what I'm saying, is that he's a fucking maniac because he loves to compete. And there's nothing else in this world, in business, in politics, no matter what, that's going to fill the void of him being able to compete at the highest level in doing this shit. Mike Thomas, you know what I'm saying? Mike Thomas, if we're talking about, measurables and shit, Mike Thomas is not that far away from everybody else. But you know what the fuck separates Mike T from everybody else? That insane little piece of DNA that dude has that was either cultivated or that was there to compete and to be his very best and to do his very best. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get back to Mike in a minute, man. But Mike on some Jerry Rice shit. It's never enough. I caught 149. I could have did 155. I could have did 160. You know what I'm saying? And even though, we can come back to that in a minute, man, it's a certain thing that some of those guys have, man. They just love competing. Like we were watching the UFC last night, man, and Cormier. You know what I'm saying? The thing didn't go in his favor last night. He lost, but the thing about, guys like Cormier, man, you know what I'm saying, is that he's been competing, doing this wrestling shit for so long that when he came to the end of the string in wrestling, 10 years ago at the Olympics, it was like, okay, but, I still want to compete, so what can I do? All right, man, you can go learn how to fight. All right. Now, you're shorter than everybody else. You build like a fucking, cat on a sewage and waterboard truck. You know what I'm saying? But you can go learn how to fight, and you can still compete. And those guys that are obsessed with competition, obsessed with learning and being great, man, those are the guys that, keep pushing and keep separating themselves, man. And so when we watch the NFL, you can tell who's there for a job, who enjoys the lifestyle, and who is just out there obsessed with competition, man. It's really easy to see. And that's what, what I'm saying, that lesson with, with Aaron Brooks in that game. And again, God bless Aaron Brooks, man. AB stood up on that team, man. And, they'll talk about AB one day, man. Like they finally starting to give a little bit and realize that they kind of fucked over Kaepernick right now. One day we'll talk about how Aaron Brooks got blackballed for speaking up for how the Saints were getting fucked over in 2005. We'll talk about that shit one day. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that's what, but that's what, I learned. That's what that taught me, was that for some of these guys, it's a game, you know what I'm saying? And they have to, be able to treat it that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it drives their teammates that are, obsessed with competition, drives them nuts. But, you know what I'm saying? That's what kind of took my fandom from absolute and turned it down a notch. Like, okay, all right, we got to have some separation here because I can't be ready to, throw my girl off a balcony because this fool and, threw 4 interceptions and he don't give a shit. So why should I? Right? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how I was able to cope with Minnesota That's how I was able to cope with the Rams, no matter how hard that was to get over, man. You know what I'm saying? And so, and really, bro, honestly, if we hadn't already won the Super Bowl, I'd probably take it that much worse. But now it's just kind of like, not that I'm satisfied with just getting one, because, I mean, if we're going to be honest, man, we left 2 on the table right now.
Easy.
I mean,
easy.
If we want to, I mean, so the NFC Championship game against the Rams out of their hands. But if we want to be like real, if the defense doesn't shit the bed in San Francisco when I was at that game, that's 3. That's 3.
That was, Doug, I'll tell you, man, I think that was the last one that really just kind of just separated it for me, because, you know what I'm saying? That was the one that just like cut my fucking heart out my chest, dude.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
That was it.
That was the one, bro.
To this day, because
go ahead.
I'll just say to this day, because I was there. Like, I can't like, I can't describe it. I remember it very well. My daughter, who was probably like 1.5 at the time, my ex-wife. I had it all planned. I was gonna do a day trip, San Francisco, go to the game. I got the ticket for like $180. And I was like, oh, that's a great price for a divisional game. I'm gonna roll up there, 6 hours away. And then ex-wife is like, oh, well, since you're going to San Francisco, like we can make a weekend out, whatever. We know how it goes. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we get there, and she wants to see San Francisco. And I'm like a player. I'm like, I don't want to fucking go outside. Like, it's like a business trip. Like,
it's a mission, right?
Like,
I'm on a mission.
Right. I don't have any plans. I don't want to go to the bridge. No. So I just can't explain what that feeling was being in that stadium when first it was the Sproles touchdown, pin drop. They come back down, Alex Smith, quarterback sweep, whatever. Then it's the Jimmy Graham touchdown. Literally most quietest place I've ever heard in my whole entire life. Like, nothing. And just seeing that, and since where I was sitting, I was kind of up and had like an all 22 angle. Like, I was yelling when the defense was on the field. Like, I could see Vernon Davis matched up against Malcolm Jenkins in single coverage. And I was yelling at Greg Williams, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Tall.
I said, what are you doing? It's just, and then for me, leaving the stadium, Charlie Brown, just downtrodden, getting hazed by 49ers fans. And what sealed it for me is when my ex comes picks me up, and she was like, yeah, we were waiting for you outside, but like we had to move the car because some people came around the car and they thought we were 49ers fans. And she was like, oh no, like I'm here with my husband, he's a Saints fan. And they start rocking the car with my ex-wife and my kid inside.
Wow. That's wild, bro.
They're rocking the Jeep. And I'm like, what the fuck? To this day, one of the worst sporting experiences of my life. And they're like, that's the ultimate heartbreak. That's ultimate heartbreak.
To this day, bro, I do not listen to that fucking what was that shit they used to use for the kickoff songs, like a Future song. Tony Montana. You didn't mean no choice. I act like that shit does not exist, man, because it's just that shit made me sick to my stomach, bro. I went from jumping, you know what I'm saying, as high as I could absolutely jump when Jimmy Graham scored that touchdown, to just really asking God why. I was just like, man, why? Like, why you doing this to me? You know what I'm saying? What did I do to you know what I'm saying, for this pain, dog? What did we do? That was just hard, bro. Because I'm sitting up here, you know what I'm saying? And the wild shit is, and, credit to Harbaugh, I still think he's a fucking hack, but he got this shit right. We played them in preseason. I don't know if y'all came to that game, dog, but they had that's Kaepernick's rookie year.
Yep, that's
and he was in there.
Game.
Yeah, and Greg was fucking blitzing like it was a Super Bowl.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? I used to sit in section like 111, like like maybe the 15 to 20 yard line behind the opponent's bench or whatever. Brown, my homie we had season tickets with. We just looking at this shit like, why the fuck is he doing this? He bringing the fucking free safety, you know what I'm saying, on third down, in second quarter of a preseason game. Who gives a fuck? But You know what I'm saying? What Harbaugh said after the game, you know what I'm saying? I give him credit for it, is that he pocketed that shit. He was like, all right, you know what I'm saying? If that's what it is, then that's what it is. And so when he saw Greg was getting nasty and Greg was getting, super duper aggressive with it, he knew what to do. And, when they were working on shit for that week, he knew that Greg was going to go right back to, you know what I'm saying, those same tactics and that same shit and playing with his safeties like he does. And, you know what I'm saying, they burned us with it, man. Credit to them, dog. But I can't believe that shit. Yeah.
The irony of it is, that game goes down in history because you had the whole Bounty Gate, Greg Williams speech before that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But if you watch that game and you ask somebody, who do you think had bounties on the other team?
Poor Pierre.
Man, listen. Let me tell you something, dog. They fucking executed Pierre Thomas on the field.
Executed that man.
Shout out to PT, man. PT is the one training camp guy that actually came through and made a career of himself, man. Shout out PT. But they executed fucking PT. I don't know where the fuck did Reggie Bush even play in that game? Was Reggie already gone?
Reggie was still.
I'm trying to remember, dog. Was Reggie already gone?
No, he was still on the team.
Or was that Sproles? Was Sproles the other guy in that game?
Right. Yeah, you're right. It was Sproles. So he was gone.
You're right. But remember, there
Sproles was a guy. Okay, cool.
Was Courtney Roby?
Yes.
Was Courtney Roby on the team? Because I remember because they were headhunting on kickoffs. They would play that rock you.
Courtney Roby got splattered.
Oh man.
Courtney Roby got splattered. I think he dropped one too. It was just bad, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole first quarter, it was like the Saints was coming out there like it was a regular fucking Sunday. And the Niners was coming like it was a fucking, like it was do or die. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so.
It was,
but
having the front row seat to see Justin Smith go against Carl Nicks. Like you talk, and to this, and this is, we can get into the whole Drew thing, but it was a game where, as a fan, my respect for him I gained so much respect for him as a player because I was there and I was at that game, and there was no way we should have had a chance. Like, we had a shot to even win that game.
Right.
I mean, I think at the top of my head there was 4 turnovers. It was the Pierre fumble. It was a fumble on a kickoff. Roby. And there was two other interceptions, right?
Yeah.
4 turnovers in San Francisco. And
San Francisco with that defense.
And he willed them back and put them in a position to win the game twice. Like, it was like, and that's what he does, right? He did that against San Francisco this season. Six touchdowns.
Say, man, listen, bro, and I'm starting to wonder, bro, is that our script? Because you think about Seattle, you think about, you know what I'm saying, all of these playoff games, Minnesota, the Miracle. How many times do we go into these games, these really big games, get overwhelmed early, and then have to fucking scratch and claw back, only to get, completely heartbroken at the end?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there's stories in there, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that, that there's books to be written on that shit one day, bro, but that's like our story.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Is that we.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know how much, watching headlines goes into it, but it's always the games where the media is just like, oh, yeah, Saints got this. It's just those games where it's like, like, I hate them. It's like Minnesota last year. Everybody was like, oh, this
Everybody.
I'm like,
you know why, man? Because it really, if we're going to be honest about it, man, and, man, I love those guys. I love every guy on that team. You know what I'm saying? They try their best and shit, but because it should have been. What happened was, honestly, you know what I'm saying, and credit to Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer looked at that tape, saw exactly what the fuck it was with that offense, and he went to work.
Yep.
He went to work. He went to work on that offensive line with every man on that line. He attacked Ramczyk. He attacked fucking Pete. He attacked fucking Bushrod. You know what I'm saying? And pretty much the only one that really kind of held it ground, man, shout out to McCoy, man. McCoy did his thing. You know what I'm saying? But the rest of them cats got work. They got attacked. You know what I'm saying? They came right out and they jumped on it. But to your point, man, you're right. Every time that, you know what I'm saying, we have something because, I mean, it happens especially with the national media, man. Like the local beat writer guys, those are the guys that have their finger on the pulse of the team and they really know what's up, more than, most of the time. We ain't saying no names, but most of the time, they know what's up. But
we can.
you know what I'm saying?
We can say names on here. Like we.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll say, but I ain't doing that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? The national guys are just gonna ride. You know what I'm saying? What they know. Who has the better quarterback? They have like a fucking, like a checklist they go down when they make these picks. Who has the better quarterback? Who has the better head coach? Who has the better superstar at the skill positions? Who has the game stopping defensive player? Blah 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 blah. And most of the times when you balance that list out, it lines up for the Saints. You got the Hall of Fame quarterback, you got a Hall of Fame coach. You know what I'm saying? A record breaking offense. You know what I'm saying? Game breaker at skill positions, whether it's Jimmy at tight end or you know what I'm saying, Sproles when we had Sproles at that, at that back position, and now we got Mike, you know what I'm saying, doing this thing with with Alvin in there. You know what I'm saying? So when you line it up on paper, it looks good. Opposed to, you know what I'm saying, this team that fucking scratched and clawed to get third in the fucking NFC North or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? It looks good, and that's why we wind up finding ourselves in that position. And I don't know how much those guys, the younger guys on those teams, I'm assuming your vets at this point know what it is and know that, nothing is guaranteed and nothing is sacred. You can get fucking murked by anybody. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder what you think about this. This is something I've been thinking about. Kind of my theme I've been saying is that, Sean Payton, he thrives in a crisis. That's why I think, this season in particular is going to be, I think he's really going to shine this year because I think he's good at dealing with, like just bullshit. You know what I'm saying? He's really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Saints, I wonder if he struggles to coach a great team, if you know what I mean. Like,
that is a beautiful thought, man.
The team is already good. He doesn't need to really he doesn't need to use his special motivational tactics or whatever, because they're already good. The talent is there. Where like if you look at like 2009, it was a talented team, but it was kind of filled with kind of hard knock guys that kind of just came up, and nobody believed in the Saints in 2009. Nobody expected. And then we went into the playoffs on a 3-game losing streak, which I think was a blessing in disguise. He was able to go into the playoffs saying, look, ain't nobody believing you. Like, that's his mantra. So I wonder if he hasn't figured out how to coach just a team that's expected to win yet. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's great at, man, like I said, that's a beautiful thought is that, what I'm saying, he's great at managing crises and, what I'm saying, shit happening and, wild circumstances going on. But, you think about it and how to, we've always we hate that shit. We hate when they put us up in, these little meaningless power rankings saying that the Saints are, the second, the best team, the second best team and shit like that. Because honestly, bro, players read that shit. Their friends read that shit. They up gassing them on Instagram. They up gassing them in the group text. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. They say, y'all gonna beat the fuck out of Minnesota this Saturday, man. Yeah, Lattimore. They say you about to do your thing. You about to fuck over Diggs.
Especially Lattimore.
Right. Man, you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Sean, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Just using that shit as an example, man. You know what I'm saying? Those guys are human, especially the young guys. And so they are, more subject to listen to that shit. And so you think about our teams the last 3 years. Yeah, we got Drew that's 1,000,000 years old and Cam, who now at this point, it's kind of crazy to think about it, is like the vet. You know what I'm saying? Outside of Drew, Cam is the vet. Drew and Morstead, Cam is the vet. But the rest of these kids are, 22, 23, 24. Fuck, Mike might be, 24, 25?
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So all of these guys, right. Your impact players are all young guys. And so they're all subject to listening to, looking at reading their own press and shit like that. And I think, to your point, Ryan, I think Sean is great at motivating, vets and old guys. Yeah, man, they say you ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? They say that, Cook about to come out here and fuck over you on Sunday, that kind of stuff. But to reach these young kids and, and dial into those guys and get them to ignore, you know what I'm saying, everybody telling them how wonderful they are and how great they're going to play without actually putting the fucking work in. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm not picking on Sean, you know what I'm saying? But I know that, kind of one of the things that, that kind of comes out of the team or whatever like that is just that, you know what I'm saying, he don't really bring his best until, not that it's too late, but, not early. It's always, playing catch up. He got fucking smoked, the first week, a couple of years ago, and then after that, he was playing catch up to try to get there. And then by the time we got to like week 4, week 5, okay, cool, now you're here.
Yeah.
It'd have been wonderful if you'd have been here from week 1, man. Where the fuck would we be right now?
Ryan,
you know what I'm saying?
Ryan and I were at that game.
Bro, I was screaming at the fucking TV. I'm just like, man, it's fucking Ryan Fitzpatrick. What are you doing? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Mike Evans, but man, what the fuck are you? It's Ryan Fitzpatrick, dog. You're not up here getting carved up. What the fuck?
Put some respect on Fitzmagic's name. He came out cooking.
Hey man, listen, I'll tell you something, bro. If we're talking about like career fucking life for backup quarterbacks, that dude has made the absolute most out of the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? It's him and the Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's him and the fucking McCown brothers, man. In this era of backups, nobody will ever surpass Steve DeBerg. Steve DeBerg had a fucking 20-year career doing nothing. And I think the only person that's on par with that,
Chase Daniel.
The only person that's on par with that, huh?
Chase Daniel get the bag. Daniel.
That's what I'm saying. Chase is on that trajectory. Chase is on his way. Chase is like halfway to fucking Steve DeBerg status, man. If we still talking about Chase in like 2024 being the backup for Jordan Love in Green Bay,
get the bag, Chase.
Then Chase got the fucking bag. You know what I'm saying? Mike, Matt Flynn, God bless Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn was, had like flash for a minute, but his time passed, man. But yeah, fucking Chase is on that trajectory. I forgot how much fucking Chase had made to this point. It's like almost $40 million, right?
Yeah, like $38 million or something like that, bro.
For like less than 10 starts, right?
Oh, like 2 starts.
That is obscene. That is fucking obscene. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if Sean Payton gets like a 1% cut.
You got to.
Because
you got to, man. At some point, like, say, bro, look, I'm gonna bring you back, but look, man, I'm gonna need something, all right? I'm gonna need some. You know what I'm saying? You just drop me my little bag on Friday evenings, and we're gonna call it evening, man. You know what I'm saying? When that check clear, when that check in your locker, I just need my little, just drop me my little bag in my, in my office, and we're gonna be all right, man. Because I brought your fucking ass back, and I know you ain't gonna snip the field. You know what I'm saying? I made sure they took care of you. And what are the fucking odds? The 1 year we don't have him on the fucking team, you know what I'm saying? It's at a time, and we manage that shit. But,
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, man. That shit is nuts, bro. But yeah, back to to our original point, man. I think that he and his staff are great at teaching those kids and putting them in position to be successful. If you got that, that 1% in you, like we talked about. But I think he struggles, like, staying connected to those guys year round. If you don't love playing ball, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have that thing in you that you just love to compete, you just love to be great, you just love to win. If you don't have that thing in you, man, it's tough to, to stay with those guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is, your motivation is, is a couple things. It's either you love to compete, you love to win, you love to be the best at what you do, you love money. Those are the only 3 reasons that you are playing in the NFL right now. You're playing at any, professional level in terms of, sports and entertainment and stuff like that, man, is that you either love to compete, you know what I'm saying? You love, you love getting after it, or you love money. And that's it. But no matter what it is, you have to reach that guy at this level. Every now and then you reach a fucking dud. Just, man, I don't want to do this shit. I just, they paid me, and it is what it is, and I'm ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that shit happens from time to time. And that's why, as much shit as we give teams about beating these kids over the head at the combine, and, going above and beyond with these questions is really because what they're trying to figure out, what they can't decipher, looking at tape of you, Skull Dragon, West Virginia in October is, do you really love playing football? You know what I'm saying? Do you really like this shit? You know what I'm saying? When we pay you, are you still going to be the same guy? You know what I'm saying? When we give you this guaranteed money and you can now, you know what I'm saying, change, circumstances of your family, is this, are you still going to be the same dude? And that's what I think, you know what I'm saying, a lot of teams, the great teams are the ones that are able to identify the guys that fit, you know what I'm saying, that fit, or the guys that, you know what I'm saying, are just like that way. Like, yeah, money is great, but this is what I love to do. You know what I'm saying? And those are the guys I think a lot of times that they're able to get the best out of. And the rest of them, I think the ones that they kind of struggle to, to connect with are the ones they're just kind of like indifferent. You know what I'm saying? And so, we'll see, man. I think that it's kind of better right now just because you don't really, I think, the people that are paying attention know that If you look on paper, the Saints have a great team, but I look at that shit and I'm just like, man, this shit looks good, but nah. I might be the only one, man. I could be the only one, in the wind and stuff like that, man, because I know how they like to play and how they like to get after it and how Sean Payton likes to, set shit up and attack it. And I'm just looking at this team and I'm just like, it looks really good, but you know what I'm saying? On offense and on defense, like it looks really good, but you know what I'm saying? As much as I'd like to just, be all in and, you know what I'm saying, just say, man, we got it. We about to go murk shit. I'm just like, nah, something missing.
I feel that, man, because, we've seen it too many years in a row. So,
right.
we just going to have to see it. I'm just fascinated with the season, all of it. COVID-19, you got this whole, the NFL is pushing, they are going to have a season regardless. They don't care who shows up on the field. If it's 10 players on each team, they going to play some football, you know what I'm saying?
They going to play some fucking football, man. And I'm going to tell you why, man. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know I watch UFC and stuff like that. The UFC is owned by Endeavor Entertainment, which is like a big, entertainment conglomerate, whatever, right? So Endeavor has a deal with ESPN where they have to produce so many events a year in order for them to guarantee the revenue from ESPN. And if they don't produce these events, then they don't get the money from ESPN and Endeavor is in a fucking hole, right? They lose a ton of money. It's just not a good time. Even now going through COVID, they had a bunch of layoffs and stuff like that. So the UFC had to find a way to put this shit together. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of obscene when they were doing it and how they were doing it. But because there's such a low number of people that have to be involved to produce an event, it actually worked, right? With the NFL, I feel like it's the exact same thing. If they don't put these games on, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no postponing the NFL season. They have a window, and I'd love for anybody out there that, that has access to, what the inner workings of the contract is and, the deliverables on that contract. But I think they have to deliver within a certain window. Like, there's no punting until, the spring like you could do for, like, college football, where you just got to have the games and shit. I think that they have to have, say, a scheduled programming on all of these weekends from September up until, fucking January, man, or going into February. They got to do it.
And they're already talking about, since there likely won't be any high school or college football, they're talking about going Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
And so I think, man, you know what I'm saying? I think that they could, what I think they probably should have done, which is a lot tougher to do when you got, 53 guys on the, on the week one roster, another, 30 or so coaches. I could be, way overestimating that, coaches and administrators and shit like that, so on and so forth. It's really hard for you to pull off a bubble doing that kind of shit unless you're going to go shut down like Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's impossible for you to be able to pull that thing off. You can do that with basketball. You can do that with hockey. You know what I'm saying? Even though hockey's have, kind of expanded rosters, relative to basketball. But in football, man, there's really no way to, to pull that shit off unless you just absolutely go and shut down like a major city with a lot of, hotels and resources and stuff like that, man. But in terms of making this season happen, man, I just, I'm going to be interested to see it. I think there's going to be a lot of, we kind of, just kind of babbled about it a little bit. But in terms of like testing and things like that, man, like how does that shit work? You know what I'm saying? Like when we get to, the injury reports right now are already shady as fuck. Mm-hmm. I think we all know that there's not a surprise to it. There's not a thing about it. You know what I'm saying? It's always, one of my favorite things about the year. It's a weird thing is to find out what major injury that we speculated about that wasn't reported was true. Yeah. Like, you remember that year Drew knee was fucked up and like nobody said, like it was never reported or anything like that. Then magically after the season, oh yeah, by the way, Drew had to go get his fucking knee put back.
He had a damn MCL.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Right. It's never on the injury report. Bro,
why is Drew Brees throwing 2 interceptions a game? Like, he just throwing interceptions like crazy.
Right. Because he couldn't fucking play it. Right.
You can't walk.
Right, exactly. He couldn't fucking plant on that leg. So he's up here, back footing and trying to, muscle everything. And that really wasn't his thing. So, but say, like I said, man, I just, we wonder about, with this testing, like, and disclosures and required disclosures and what the, what the league's protocols is, man, I'd love to know what that shit is and what that really looks like. Because, let's think about, if you get to a point where, we start rolling into, like, everybody is above board and doing their best and all that kind of stuff right here. It's August, we're in August right now. We're mid-August.
Right.
When we get to September, October, maybe it's still, kind of on par with what the standards are and stuff like that, man. But when it's Thanksgiving and, mid-December, and we're talking about seeding and all of that stuff, man, and all of a sudden, that positive test ain't really rolling on time like it was supposed to. And it gets delayed or it gets fucking buried and stuff like that. Now all of a sudden you got an issue. How is that going to be handled? Or what's in place to safeguard teams from bypassing that shit altogether? Or is it just one of those things that everybody kind of accepts? Yeah, fuck it, this is going to be what it's going to be. And essentially we expect everyone to be affected by this shit, impacted or infected, with the virus in terms of like, players and personnel and stuff like that. You just do your best to mitigate it, man. I would love to know, what the protocols are.
I can tell you the protocol. Nothing. Ain't no protocol. Let me tell you something, man. If Mike Thomas, if the number one seed on the line, Mike Thomas get a test, he's asymptomatic. Let's say he's asymptomatic, but his test comes back positive. Man, Sean Payton gonna ball that shit up and tell him to go out there and play.
File 13. My brother's going into file 13. You hear me? That bitch is going into file 13. And they'll just let Roger Goodell come back and come file and find $2 million in February when we hold that trophy. When it comes out, when Jay Glazer pop up, when we having the Super Bowl parade in New Orleans with no people. Jay Glazer reports that fucking Mike Thomas played like the whole playoffs with fucking COVID-19.
I can see it, bro. I swear to God, I can see it, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Drew was in fucking Oshner from Wednesday to Friday afternoon. And then they flew him to wherever who's hosting the Super Bowl and shit. Does that even matter anymore? Like, are they just going to put that bitch in Las Vegas and call it a day?
I have no clue.
I have no idea.
Yeah, put that motherfucker in London. Who cares? Right. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Jay Glazer gonna report that bitch on like Super Bowl Monday or some shit. You know what I'm saying? After the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, by the way, Drew Brees is in fucking Ashland getting treated for COVID-19 after the fact. But that's the kind of shit I really think about here, in terms of this thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And, God bless the guys that opted out. I really think if everybody had a really true understanding and they had people that were really honest with them about how serious this shit is, more guys would have, just set this shit out, because it's really not, I know we all kind of doing our best collectively to try to act like shit is normal and everything is cool, but it's really not.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, in terms of all of the sports, you know what I'm saying, I think the UFC and the NBA have done the best jobs with testing and, managing contacts, because again, with such a low amount of, of people relative to the NFL, you can do that. With the NFL, you can't do it.
Too many people.
So, you know what I'm saying, that all of these guys, basically, if you opt into the season, you pretty much know that you're going to get it. What you're banking on is that the NFL and your team is going to protect you and, do the best to take care of you. And that's great. But what happens when, your kids take that shit to the grandmother, or, things like that, man? That's the kind of, thing that I think about and I worry about. And really, we talk about, how this affects all of us, and, just culturally, you have more, multi-generational homes, in minority families, generally speaking, so like even like schools opening and shit like that, you have, folks that live with their parents and stuff like that. So the kids will get the shit at school, bring it home to grandma. Well, it's no different than, you being exposed to it, you coming home and passing that shit along to your family. Because unless we're going to do the bubble thing the whole season, I don't know if Sean Payton is only doing the bubble is he only doing it for training camp, or is he doing this for the whole season?
It's just camp for now.
It's just for camp, okay. But unless you're going to do that, man, basically you are signing on to, expose yourself and expose your family to this illness that, honestly speaking, bro, we are about 8 months in and we still don't know everything about. We're still learning about. That's a hard fucking sell. You know what I'm saying? If these guys, right, if these guys, really were informed that, just what's at risk, because, okay, let's say you get it, you're asymptomatic, whatever, they still don't know what the long-term effects are on you. You know what I'm saying, in dealing with this thing and managing this shit. You know what I'm saying? And, I've already seen that, people are going to be more susceptible to chronic illness, which, brother, I promise you, you know what I'm saying, is no fucking joke. You know what I'm saying? Fibromyalgia and all of that kind of stuff, man. It's, it's a motherfucker, man. And that's the thing I think that people aren't really, being educated about and really understanding. Like, okay, yeah, you may not wind up in the hospital today with this shit, but if you have it, or if you've had it and you've recovered from it, you know what I'm saying, what are the long lasting, health effects that you're going to have? And I mean, relative to these players and, competing and, wanting to get after it this season, I mean, you know what I'm saying, man, when you think about it, and I know how, a lot of these cats are wired and, everybody is in for whatever reason it is, right? We know that Drew is in because Drew know this is his last shot. We know Mike is in because Mike is, is in for, is in to compete and he's up to, to follow up on, the greatness that he put up next season to show everybody it's not a fluke. But to, play a 47 on the roster. You know what I'm saying? For you to, what are the, what are the long-term odds of this working out in your favor? You know what I'm saying? You might have a couple NFL seasons in you and it's a wrap, but, at the end of the day, you may have fucked around and given your wife or your girl some shit that's going to affect her for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that's kind of scary about this thing, bro. Is that, everybody's kind of operating like we got all the facts and we don't. And the people who are here to inform us and tell us about this shit are the ones that are telling us. We don't know everything yet. This is what we know so far. And that's why it's kind of insane that we're trying to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, just back to, kind of, we were kind of talking about right before we came on, man. It's just that, what I'm saying? I think that if anybody's going to, at this point, I don't think it's, it's likely. But if there was ever really an aha moment for everybody to really kind of figure this shit out and realize that this is a terrible idea, it's going to happen soon. And I really don't think it is. Like, we kind of see it a little bit in college football right now. Because I've seen players from Auburn and Alabama posting from Tuscaloosa and posting from Auburn, showing just how, much the virus is being disregarded by students and, in social gatherings and stuff like that, man. It's just like, post a picture and it's like two people wearing the fucking mask in a room full of 50, 60 people. You know what I'm saying? So you're already kind of seeing the college season starting to erode a little bit because the player confidence is gone. Because what do we hear Nick Saban and Dabo and all of these clowns say last week? Oh, players are safer on campus than they are going back home. Really? Because looking at Tuscaloosa, man, you know what I'm saying? We're looking all that hot. And same thing with Auburn. And I'm pretty sure, God bless Baton Rouge. I'm pretty sure, we saw like all the guys got sick at Tigerland this summer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They popped up just from going to like one party or one gathering. It was like 30 cats on the team got that shit. You know what I'm saying? So you've already kind of gotten a little microdose of what this shit's going to be like. So what is the expectation for NFL players this season? They're supposed to go to work and go home and not have a social life? You know what I'm saying? Because certain cities are open. Fucking Atlanta wide open. I'm watching how this shit has affected Major League Baseball, bro. Everybody that has gone through Atlanta then came out with some shit. You know what I'm saying? The guys didn't want to stay in their room. They went out. You know what I'm saying? They might say, "Oh, I just went to meet a friend." Okay, well, you met the motherfucker at Magic City. So you know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden the Marlins are down, for a week because they can't play because half the team tested positive for COVID because they all went out to party and shit. And I just, with that big long ramble, man, I'm down at them. I'm trying to project that and think about that relative to 53 players on an active roster, your coaching staffs, your administrators and stuff like that, man. Unless you're going to require that those people basically live their lives just going to work and going home and then just managing their contact with people in their households, I don't think that there's any way that you can realistically expect that any team is going to get through this season clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The real, impetus at the end of the day is just wondering if, football already is a war of attrition from the beginning of training camp. And we were laughing about this shit on Twitter the other day. Okay, the pads coming on. I mean, the season ended. It was about to start rolling in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's a fucking war of attrition. Right. It's a war of attrition from, August all the way through January. And, if you're lucky enough and, things are bouncing in your favor, you make it to, the game in February, man. But, when you roll this thing into it and you wonder about, what's in place and what safeguards in place and what the impact is going to be, it's really going to be, interesting to see how, how it plays out, and what I'm saying, what the protocols are and what these teams are prepared for. I mean, what I'm saying, God forbid, Drew Brees get this shit from one of his kids, what I'm saying, going to school. We got Jameis and we got, Taysom on the roster, so we can manage that shit. We didn't really get to start talking about that shit again. But that's why, I forgot who, I wish I remembered who covered it. It might have been Nick. Yeah, I think it was Nick. Nick, World's Not Football. Check him out. Subscribe. We need that.
Yeah.
But Nick pointed out that the Saints are carrying, looking at another punter in camp, and thinking about that in terms of, relative to if something happens to Morstead or happens to, Will Lutz, that you have some additional coverage in the punt game and also in terms of kicking. So if something happens, throw them on a practice squad, tuck them away. And, when you are, filling out your practice squad this year, you really have to do it less in terms of projecting talent and trying to get them, reps and trying to get them integrated into a professional workout program, practice program, and, just learning playbooks and stuff like that, to who can help me if, one of his kids comes home and gets him sick and he's gone for, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. God forbid anything else happened. But essentially you have to assume that you have a contingency plan for all 53 guys, or at the very least, you're starting 22 and special teams for 2 weeks. At any given point, you have to be prepared for any of these guys to disappear for 2 weeks. And that's the reality of, football, COVID football. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be prepared for anybody to go. And I mean, you can say, oh, that's football, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying? We don't expect that there's, a possibility that the whole fucking starting D-line is going to disappear because they went to lunch together at fucking Chili's or, and Wingstop or some shit. And got that shit, and now all of a sudden now we down Cam, Rank, Malcolm, and Two First. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of shit you have to think about, bro, because that's the nature of the virus. And again, it's what makes it all the more insane that we're doing this. I love football. I do. You guys do. We shouldn't be playing this shit at any level this year. That's just the hard truth about it. But because we're Americans and because we don't go without this shit, you know what I'm saying? We need that narcotic. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even a debate.
Right. We should not be playing. Football should be played at any level this year. Any level. Pee-wee, high school, none of that shit, bro. Just because it's the one sport you can't distance at all. Not in any way. Not in practice. You can throw a mask on, bro. I was in the grocery store earlier, you know what I'm saying? It was a little warm in the store. My shit started getting sweaty, and I was about to have a fucking panic attack.
Oh, bro.
That shit kind of, it's the worst, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big guy, man. So, you know what I'm saying? Once that bitch starts sweating and getting wet, man, it's just tough. She damn near waterboarding at that point, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the store trying not to have a panic attack and pass out. My big ass on the ground. But, you know what I'm saying, I wonder about these guys, you know what I'm saying, what's going to be expected of them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw a mock-up of LSU having, like, a full face shield underneath the helmet, right? Like, they're going, like, full, I don't know if they're going to actually do it for everyone, but I did see that they had something where it was, like, a full face shield that went from the top of the face mask all the way down to the bottom underneath the face mask, as opposed to doing, like, you know what I'm saying, the cloth mask or, you know what I'm saying, stuff over the face and stuff like that. And I wonder, you know what I'm saying, how you think you're going to be able to pull this off and not, have these guys, like, think about, just pull some shit up, put on Madden if you need to, and look at the offensive and defensive lines. Lining up pre-snap. How the fuck do you manage the virus with that?
There's no way.
Right?
There's none.
There's no way. They are literally breathing in each other's face. There's just no way. Everybody's talking. Everybody's giving signals and shit.
Just think about the quarterback center exchange. Like, the quarterback puts his knuckle in, like, the center's ass to get the snap. Like, that is
right. You know what I'm saying? You got that, or you got, you know what I'm saying? I know Drew been talking about not licking his fingers and shit, man. It's natural. You can't do that for 15 years and all of a sudden say, yeah, man, I ain't doing that no more. Nah, that's bullshit. You might not doing this much.
Drew made it sound like he was licking his hands at home. Like, what are you licking, Drew? Like, why are you licking?
I'm like, man, I ain't never shaking Drew hands.
Everything, bro. Fuck no. Boy, you getting them knuckles in there. All right, bro, good game. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be that. But Fuck that shit, man. But that's that's the kind of shit that I think about, man. That's what makes it all the more insane. And I'm pretty sure the NFL. I hope the NFL has a plan to, what I'm saying, to be ready for this to be catastrophic. And God forbid anybody really get ill and die. You know what I'm saying? Because we got, what I'm saying, a lot of these big guys. Like remember we had Nick Fairley not that long ago.
Yeah.
Had a fucking heart issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That went
a bum
undiscovered.
kicker.
We found it. Right. And then we had the guy not last year, it was the year before. There was the deep snapper that we got from the Eagles that had like some hard shit.
We got new doctors, bitch.
We got new doctors, you know what I'm saying? We find that shit. But I wonder about that, man. God forbid these guys get infected and you know what I'm saying, wind up, compromised or anything like that. That would be the worst case scenario to me, is that, you know what I'm saying, because we couldn't go without playing this season right now, that, you know what I'm saying, ultimately it wound up impacting somebody's long term health outside of the confines of football, right? At this point, you know what I'm saying, like when I was playing in high school, man, we didn't know that shit about concussions or whatever, man. I'm pretty sure my eggs to this day are still scrambled from fucking around playing, you know what I'm saying, just a little piece of high school football I played.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But these guys today from high school to college to the NFL, that when you step on the field, you take an assumed risk. No different than working in a hazardous workplace, right? Like when I used to work at Harris when I was in college, man, and they made you sign a fucking waiver, basically saying, "Hey, look, you gonna work here. It's cool, but you can never come back and sue us for, you know what I'm saying, any illness that you may or may not have contracted on a job." You know what I'm saying? You can't get, you know what I'm saying, you can't come back and sue us for lung cancer because you decided you agreed to come work in here and expose yourself to it. And I'm pretty sure other places have done that as well. Have those kind of things in place. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, for the NFL, for football injuries, football related injuries, head injuries, trauma, joint injuries, soft tissue injuries, all of that kind of shit, you know what I'm saying, there's kind of an assumption and an assumed risk that you take when you decide to do this, right? Getting COVID and, you know what I'm saying, having, fibromyalgia or giving your wife, fibromyalgia, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years down the line because you had to play this season, man, is outside of those realms and those confines, man. And I'm positive, you know what I'm saying, if these guys had access to all of the information instead of just, you know what I'm saying, what's assumed or whatever, that a lot more of them would have made that decision. What I would like to know, honestly, I would love to be a fly in the wall in the Patriots locker room 6 weeks ago. What the fuck do they know that all of those guys are opting out, right? And it can't just be that, well, we won a couple years ago and I know we're going to suck this shit. It can't be that. You got some guys that are absolutely going to do it. Like y'all were joking about CJ Mosley and shit. I didn't realize, did he really opt out?
Yeah, man.
Whoa! Wow!
I mean,
wow!
To be fair, like CJ Mosley,
Oh yeah,
he plays for the Jets. Adam Gase is his head coach.
It's fuck Adam Gase all day around this joint, man. We got tiptoe around that. It's fuck Adam Gase.
But it's just like, and he was coming off of like a bad injury last year. Like why?
Yeah.
For him, it's like, why would I? For him, you want me to go?
No. Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah. Shout out Manesh, man, because Manesh be at fucking Adam Gates' neck, and I live for that shit.
At his neck.
At his fucking neck, man. You know what I'm saying?
I got love for dude because you know what?
Man, you know what I'm saying?
I got love for Manesh because he blocked me for years, and he unblocked me. I got love for that.
Shout out Manesh, man. Shout out Manesh, man. I didn't realize that. What you call it though, man? I did not realize until I heard that shit that he opted out, dog. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man. Like,
yeah.
Man. But
yeah,
like it is.
That's life, and that's real.
I expected more players to opt out too.
I did too.
I really think, honestly, man, I think that, you know what I'm saying, and, it's not exactly a secret that the NFLPA is not the best, players organization in professional sports. And I would really like to know what kind of information these guys had exposure to explicitly, not just, hey, look, here's the handout from the team, you know what I'm saying, which 32 teams, you're going to get 32 different things. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's any one. You have your one set, league mandated. You have to tell them there's league mandated disclosures and stuff like that. But I would love to know, you know what I'm saying, what these guys found out about the virus, aside from, hey, look, here's what it is. You guys don't have pre-existing conditions, or the 5 of you guys that might be pre-diabetic, yeah, y'all might really want to think about this shit. Or if you're about to have a kid, yeah, you might want to think about this shit. But everybody else, yeah, you should be okay. And, we can't guarantee anything if you get your family members ill or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? It can't just be as simple as, I can't go without this money, and no matter what's happening, I just got to be out there. Now, that being said, you think back to the lockout a couple of years ago, and you see the kind of loans these cats were taking out when they had known there was going to be a stoppage for a minute. That, you know what I'm saying, it was going to be an issue. This was back, what was that, 12, 13, man? The last time we had the lockout?
It was
That was
2011, right before
yeah.
2011
Yeah,
season.
I remember seeing that Vince Young took out like a loan for like $1 million, but it was like some ridiculous like criminal percentage rate he had to pay. He had to pay the shit back with. It was like fucking 40 or 50% or something crazy like that. It was insane, man. But they had been telling those guys to prepare. You know what I'm saying? The player reps and all of those guys to that point, you know what I'm saying, and to their credit, they were telling telling the young guys ahead of time, hey man, look, we ain't gonna have no cash. Your cash gonna be light. Hold on to your money. They didn't listen, and so when they got to that point, they were cash strapped. And so when it was time for them to make a deal again, they didn't make a great deal. They just took whatever the fuck, the owners did with minimal concessions, and then, they were back playing ball. Because those guys weren't really prepared for to go without. And, you know what I'm saying, I can't help but wonder how many of these guys, how much of the participation, the high number of participation across the league is due to guys, how much of it was economics and how much of it was information or lack thereof. I would love to know, what I'm saying, what the breakdown was. And, to what I said a minute ago, man, I'd love to be in the Patriots locker room about 6 weeks ago, or at least the group text, and, and hear how that shit went. That all of those guys just all of a sudden decided, yeah, you know what, not this season. I'm just going to chill. You know what I'm saying? I'll just take this 150, which is did you guys know that shit is a loan, basically?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a
fucking loan. The fucking payday loan, right? You got to pay that shit back. That's wild. You know what I'm saying? That shit is insane, man. Now, you know what I'm saying? If you like, roster player number 59, okay, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I guess, but you know what I'm saying? It's insane to me that, that's your alternative. It's not that, hey, man, look, we know that there's a, global pandemic going on, and, we'll give you this stipend basically to get you through and see you through your essentials. And, you know what I'm saying, this should tie you over and get you through, you know what I'm saying, until, you're comfortable or football comes back in 2021. But without leaving out the part that basically is a fucking advance on your salary next year. This ain't, this isn't a portion of your current contract, because basically your contract goes on ice. I don't think those guys accrue a year of service either.
Nope. No,
Dude,
sure don't.
They don't accrue. Yeah, they don't accrue a service year for doing this, right?
No. The only benefit is their own mental health. That's it.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which, the truth be told, is probably, it's been, that's probably the key thing. And, you know what I'm saying? I think this one of these things, bro, we're going to look back on regretfully, you know what I'm saying, in a few years when we know more about this thing. And I pray that it's not true and it it's not what happens, man. But I can't help but feel like we're going to look back on this and say, damn, man, we really probably shouldn't have done that. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing, the little bit that I know about this thing right now, bro, in terms of how it can impact folks down the line. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we at home bored and shit. We'll watch any fucking thing, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We was hyping Korean baseball a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So we will watch any fucking thing and we will bet on anything because we are a degenerate society. We will bet on anything. I'm pretty sure some of you motherfuckers out there listening were betting on the WNBA. There's no judgment out here, but you know what I'm saying? Taking the sparks on the over is some degenerate shit. And I love you, but it is what it is, man.
Shout out to my man Cole on Saints Twitter. He took a 3-month hiatus, but Fat Boy Slim will bet on anything. No judgment here.
My God, say he taking the Mystics to go all the way again. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, we all at the crib bored, you know what I'm saying? We're tired of these kids. We just need, something to feel normal and shit. And that's, I agree, bro, and I feel the same way, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, at what cost? And, you know what I'm saying? For me, I'm not going to hold it against any of these guys. I'm not going to hold it against no fans for, cheering for football and stuff like that, man, because if you're going to give it to us, fucking right, I'm going to watch it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I agree with it. It's the same thing with the UFC. You know what I'm saying? When Dana White was trying to put this shit on back in fucking, like, June, when this shit was still new and going crazy and fresh and shit, everybody was like, man, you crazy. Why are you trying to do this shit? Now, put on a few events and the shit worked out and it was cool and you could actually see that, okay, well, this is kind of safe. You know what I'm saying? And this could maybe work. But at the same time, I'm going to watch it, even if I don't really feel like this should be happening right now. You know what I'm saying? The event Saturday night, main event was great. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Daniel Cormier. But, you know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where I felt like, yeah, I'm going to watch it because it's on and it's Saturday night and there's really nothing happening because I'm in my fucking house for the fourth or fifth month straight. But, you know what I'm saying? It probably shouldn't really be happening right now, all things being told. But, if you're going to put it on, we're going to watch it. And that's kind of how I feel about, football going on this season, especially pro football. College football, I'm perfectly fine with, with not seeing at all. You know what I'm saying? Even if it means I never get to see Jamar Chase play for LSU again, or, you know what I'm saying, if Justin Fields decides, you know what, fuck Ohio State, I'm just going to go get ready for the draft. And, you know what I'm saying, no matter how it affects, all of those guys, man, you know what I'm saying? Because these kids aren't getting paid for it, and that's basically why this season is not going to happen.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I saw some shit earlier. It was saying, and I don't know if it was how well sourced it was. They were saying that LSU is worried about losing $80 million in revenue if football doesn't happen. I don't even know if that's an accurate number because the football program grosses, I'm pretty sure, a good bit more than that. You know what I'm saying? So, but all I see reading that shit is that, damn, these kids are worth $80 million a year.
Huh.
And what the fuck are they getting? You know what I'm saying? $30,000-$40,000 a year, tuition, room and board, or whatever like that, which is marked up anyway. So fuck that noise.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Think about that shit. Think about how much money Joe Burrow really generated for LSU last year.
Bro.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Or Jamal or Stingley. You know what I'm saying? All these kids that, came and made a big impact individually for that team. You know what I'm saying? You take that number I just said and you start chipping that shit up and, you know what I'm saying, divvying that up percentage-wise based on, the impact that those guys had on that team for that year. And I promise you it's a whole lot more than that scholarship and room and board. You know what I'm saying? So, the whole reason that the college football season isn't happening is because they won't share revenue. You know what I'm saying? If you look at these player demands and stuff like that across the board, all they're really saying is make sure that we're good health-wise beyond the years that we're on campus, which, college football still does not do at all. You know what I'm saying? You can go out here and get fucked up playing for Tennessee or playing for, any of these schools out here and then find out years later and they'll be like, oh, shit, man, it didn't happen on campus. So, or we didn't know about it while you were on campus. So I can't guarantee that you didn't get in a fucking car accident and fuck your brain up or fuck your hip up or, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially all the players are really asking for, man, give us some money to make this risk worth it and to protect ourselves and to give us, basically prolonged health care going down the line. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Give me a portion, give, Jamar Chase a portion of these fucking LSU number 7 jerseys that you're about to go sell all over the place right this year. You know what I'm saying? Go put that shit in the trust. And that's the thing I can't understand about it is that if you want to protect, the sanctity of quote unquote amateurism, right? You don't want to pay the kids while they're on campus directly for their contributions in athletics. Put that shit in a trust fund. The minute that they are either no longer eligible or graduate or leave campus permanently, give them their money. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's in relative to the NCAA video games that are going to come back sometime soon, to selling jerseys, which was always my biggest gripe. And Florida tried to circumvent that shit to a degree where they would only sell like 2 numbers. It was like number 1, and I think they broke in like sold 15 for Tebow, or maybe they don't even do that shit anymore. But there was like a couple schools that only sold like flagship numbers. They didn't just like do the like, you remember we grew up with the East Bay catalogs where you had the number 9 Peter Warrick jersey, you had number 5 Reggie Bush, you had, Todd Gurley at Georgia, AJ Green and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And, for those guys that you're going to sell my number while I'm up here doing this shit, man, it's a direct relation to how well I'm performing. Put my money in a fucking trust somewhere where I can touch it as soon as I leave here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm an amateur athlete and that's who I am and that's what you want to sell to everyone, you want to tell everyone that's what it is, they give me my bread when I leave. It's cool. Just give me my money when I leave campus. Whenever we done here, whenever we done, finish with this transaction, because it's a transaction. You know what I'm saying? And, whenever I leave, they give me my money. But the fact that the NCAA isn't willing, or these conferences aren't willing to, do what it takes to, to take care of these kids and secure them, to risk their lives and the lives of their family members, during this thing is, it's kind of nuts. And that's why I don't think football should be played, because they're not willing to, cut the shit and guarantee these kids, future going forward, man. It's kind of crazy when you think about it, though, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to sit up here and say that, having these kids be around each other, and, what I'm saying, when you start getting into contact tracing, so you have, on a NCAA program, LSU, you might have, 9,500 kids on a team, just like players and like walk-ons and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you take those guys, they all, live in certain places, you know what I'm saying? Some of them live on campus, some of them live off campus, right? Which means that now all of a sudden they're all exposed to different people who are exposed to different people. They all go to different classes where they're exposed to different people who are exposed to different people. So it's not like they all have a homogenous, living situation where they all live in, like the bubble, right? It's not like they all just, holed up in the athletic complex, taking classes online, going straight to practice, coming back to the complex. They're not going to be doing that from, August through December. It's not going to happen that way. You know what I'm saying? You're asking these kids to still go out and go to class and do all of this shit through the process and risk themselves because they know they're going to have certain exposure, especially here in the South. You know what I'm saying? For a number of reasons. But, the fact that you were willing to, have these kids expose themselves, at the risk of what? You know what I'm saying? A scholarship for a semester or a year. The thing that that I don't think is really, being mentioned to a lot of these kids that aren't comfortable playing is, man, look at all of the schools that are not playing right now, bro. I promise you will be able to transfer to one of those schools if you are not comfortable being the third tackle at Alabama or being the fucking backup, deep snap at LSU or at, Clemson or North Carolina or one of these other programs, man. There's opportunities out here for you. You don't have to do that shit. HBCUs are not playing football this fall. You know what I'm saying? It's a big step down in terms of like national exposure to go from being on ESPN and all of the networks, the ESPN networks or whatever, playing for a big time SEC, ACC program. But I promise you, what I'm saying, if you add Southern or if you add FAMU or these other schools, they're looking out for your health and well-being because they can't afford for you not to be well because they can't afford their lawsuit. Yep. They gotta be, cautious with how they take care of you. So there's always going to be an opportunity for you to go and play somewhere. So don't feel like you are, a prisoner of, having to stay at the school or having to, go through this stuff if you're really uncomfortable doing it, man. I mean, I know these are all, really prideful and hyper competitive, young men. But, you got to have somebody that's going to step up in your ear and, put some good words on you and let you know that this ain't everything, man. I love LSU. I do. You know what I'm saying? I love the program. I'm glad that we're going in the right direction and shit like that, man. But I don't hold it against any of these kids. None of them. Not one. If they decided, you know what? Fuck this shit. Got a murder happening again?
Uh-oh.
Murder time?
Uh-oh.
Murder time in Ryan household, man.
Ryan's MO. Worst criminal I've ever met. He's like, his MO is, I'm going to do murders live on a podcast. Like, everybody can hear the evidence.
Oh, man. I'll never forget that shit.
That's my wife's voice, boy.
Shout out to Bree.
Bree voice travels.
I just want to know, Ryan, like, can you let us know what she was watching that elicits such a reaction?
Oh, You talking about in the last episode?
Yeah, what was you watching, man?
Man,
The murder
I can't
episode.
remember,
What was
man.
that?
I
Yeah.
can't remember, but she was like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's like a fucking crime scene. Like, damn, dog, is everything all right? Press 2 if you need assistance. You know what I'm saying?
Best part about it, I was worried. This man just kept talking. Like it was just.
Yeah, it's a fucking Sunday afternoon, and Ryan's like, yeah, bro, because fucking Kamara, that fucking knee.
That's background.
Can we get some help?
Background noise. That's background noise for me. Shit, I'm like, real.
Yeah, man.
But Will, we don't want to take up too much of your time, man.
Man, anytime, bro.
We appreciate you coming on. Just like me on Twitter, Will's account is locked, so you can request to follow Will on Twitter.
You can request, man, but I will screen you motherfuckers, and if it ain't looking right, you ain't getting through, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? Ryan got fucking the Hills Have Eyes Saints Twitter following him, man. You know what I'm saying? You say 2 words to Ryan. You got these motherfuckers I ain't never seen before. You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you?
I'm trying to be open, all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? Like
all fans matter.
All fans matter.
But damn.
Make that Getty image thing your fucking avatar, man. That's where you at right now. Make that fucking Drew Brees Getty image thing your fucking avatar.
I may as well, bro.
Yeah, man. All right, man.
But you can follow Will on Twitter at Will Del Toro. So as the season goes on, as we continue doing more episodes, our goal of Ryan and I is to have people who is a part of Saints Twitter be on the podcast. Like that's the point of the pod. That's the point of the show. So we started with Will. Will's obviously not going to be, the only person we get on here. We're going to have more people, and just keep it going. Because at the end of the day, this is the Saints have brought us all together to be an extended family. At the end of the day, and that's something that, regardless of all the heartbreak and just annoying ass fucking feelings I have for them in the past, like that's something I'll always be thankful of, is that, without the Saints, we wouldn't have this camaraderie that we have, that we share. And I don't care what anyone says, it's not like this in every fan base. Like it's just not.
Nope.
And so, so that's why we do it. So we're getting out of here. It's getting late, but Will, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Talk to y'all boys soon.
All right, man.
Peace, brother.
So, first Saints padded practice tomorrow. All right then. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about training camp, what's coming out of training camp. And there's going to be football in a month from now, like a month from today. There's going to be football, which is insane. But we will get through it as we do. Everyone follows Ryan, so you don't have to worry about following him. But with that, we're out.
All right, peace.